Blah, 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 blah. I should do this. My wife. Taking a sip. Hey y'all, this is Jace, she, they, and you have found Jace Reads Romance, a community dedicated to empowering women about sex and sexuality through the reading of romance novels. It is time for another wrap up of what I read, so get your comfy sexy on. I love the idea of menswear shirts, I think, more than the actual reality of them, but I'm doing my best and trying my silky menswear shirt. I've got my comforting beverage in one of my many emotional support water bottles. I am here to talk about the books I read from February 10th through 16th. I read 5 books that week. All of them were digital, so I'll be looking at notes and things on my phone because that just makes everyone's life easier. The first book I read was A Turn in the Air by A.H. Cunningham. This is the second book in the series. I read Plea A in 2024, and this is about a trio of female friends down in Miami. It was great. This book is very different. It's about Sal, who is one of the friends, and she has her own history. She has her own kind of vibe. It's very different than the situation in Plie. But Sal not only is an incredible business owner, she is great with computers, she hacks, she does other things, but she has a side hustle where she helps women who are in bad situations with men get away and hide. And one of her clients puts her in danger, and so she finds herself being followed, being essentially hunted, being sought after because of this woman who she's helped escape from a bad situation. Devon, who is a friend of this friend group, he is a dancer, he is from Jamaica, and he is dealing with a light visa issue. He's fine, he's injured right now, and so he's wondering if his contract with the dance company he works with is going to be continued, and that's how he's here in the country. That's how he's here legally. So they decide, in order to get her protection and to get his visa situation a little bit more solid, they're going to get married. So it's a marriage of convenience between the two of them. And it is romantic suspensey. There are people coming after Sal, and Devon has his own history. His brother is currently in jail. He was very active in the drug trade in the area. He is connected to that underworld in a big way. And as Sal and Devon are forced into proximity with each other, Sal moves in with Devon because he lives in a very well protected high rise. They not only connect physically, because they do, but also emotionally. This book has kink just like Plie did. Plie, they met and they connected because they were both at a club. This book, it's different kink. It's not as well defined kink. It's not club kink. They both have their preferences and they talk about them, and they have this like big overarching negotiation, but they engage in primal play more than the bondage scenes that we saw in Plie. Overall, I think it was a great story. It was really fun. We got a lot of information about these two characters. They were intriguing. Their will they won't they was fun. Their passion together was absolutely fire. And I did a little bit more digging into this series because they're kind of all connected. There's a connected portion to a different series that A.H. Cunningham has, and I might go back to that one because, well, just to be honest, I think it's an FFM. No, I'm sorry. I think it's an MMF or it's an MFM, so, you know, my favorite. But some of my favorite quotes. I'm just going to go through my quotes. Oh, there are some great my wife moments. Like, if you're someone who links on my wife, this book has that, especially when Sal's being threatened and we deal with some of her personal stuff, not just the situation where she's helping this human, but her family, truths about her family and her history and her background come up, and that was really good. Some really good moments with that. Oh, this is if you've been wondering in the J Series Romance podcast why we talk about heterosexuality is the worst sexuality, it pretty much comes from, it comes from life, but it also comes from this quote. If only I could divest myself from lusting after them meaning men. If only I'd been blessed with attraction to any or no gender. But no, I needed to be saddled by the curse of heterosexuality. It is. It's the worst. We don't see the negotiations, but at the very least they're mentioned. So this is their negotiations. We reviewed safety, exchanged sexual health statuses, and discussed protection. And like, you need that. You need to have these discussions with your partner, regardless if you're vanilla or kinky. If you're not sure why, go listen to What Vanilla Can Learn from Kink, which are 2 separate episodes on the podcast right now. They have these really weird nicknames for each other, but I kind of love. She calls him Mufasa, and he calls her Ursula. Ursula, I think, because she's slippery whenever they're playing. Like, she's like got arms everywhere, like limbs everywhere and moving around, and then she calls him Mufasa. I kind of love it. I don't know if it's just the Disney princess in me, but it always made me smile. Oh, this is a great moment. I thought I wanted someone to take care of, but what I needed was someone that could take care of themselves and allow me the privilege of carrying the load with them. I love that. That's such a good line. And that's what this comes down to for me, is I'm enjoying the partnership. This became a partnership. And because they're so separate in their worlds, in their careers, in where they come from, they really come into this as equals. No one is above the other. No one until they, engage in kink. No one has more power over the other. And that, I think, is what led to the solid relationship that we watched form. Sal is very closed off. She does not share. She is not open. And watching her almost fall into this unexpectedly, unwillingly with Devon was really beautiful, and watching her become vulnerable over the course of this story was really touching to watch. So I liked it. Keep it on with A.H. Cunningham. This next book I did not like. It was Her Vampire Prince by Ines Johnson. I read another Ines Johnson novella, I think in September, which also wasn't for me. And I tried. I even bought the whole trilogy of novellas because it's vampires and I want to read vampires. She's an author of color. She's everywhere. She's like all over the place with me. And I didn't like it. It just gave me so many ick factors. The age gap, I have a note in this. I remember this. I have a note that's like, is this kinky? I don't know if this is kink. It just felt so wrong. The lore didn't make sense. The world building was lacking. The plot was ridiculous. Everything about it was such a no for me, which was so disappointing because I really wanted to like this. I really wanted a good vampire experience. I felt like it let me down. The premise of this book is that Cari, she's handling a death very poorly, and she's doing a lot of really death-defying and adrenaline junkie kind of things, and her parachute doesn't release skydiving, but then he catches her. She falls into his backyard. Number one, you can't catch a person. You're still going to break every bone in their body, and even if you're a vampire, you're still going to break every bone in their body. But then he falls for her immediately. She falls for him instantaneously, but it just feels so unhealthy, the two of them. And there's even a moment, I'm just going to, you know what, I'm just going to go through my notes because I feel like that's going to, Hadrian was so fucking annoying. She's a virgin. There's nothing wrong with being a virgin, but when you're a virgin and you have hundreds of year old vampire, there's just a big power exchange that I didn't like. Do we need a safe word, I ask? No safe word. I know you. I know how you respond to me. I know what you need better than you do, it would appear. Just tell me what you need. No, I don't give a fuck. You always need a safe word. This isn't even dark romance. I don't love when they have kink badly in dark romance, but this isn't dark romance. You don't get to pull it's dark romance. It's just dumb. You need a safe word. Always, because even if something feels good, you don't know what's going on, you're not a mind reader, and even if you were a mind reader, the whole point of a safe word is to be able to use it and have your own autonomy. Fuck you, you always need a safe word. The man that I fell in love with at first sight. The man who I knew after 2 nights, remember virgin, 2 nights and countless orgasms. that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. No, I don't like it. It gave me all of the ick factor. And then Hadrian, the MMC, has like a meltdown because she said, I need to go talk to my siblings. I'll see you later. And he's like, no, she left me. And even his friends are like, bro, she said she's coming back. Can we take a moment? Can we take a moment to like listen to our partner and not freak the fuck out? No, I hated it so much. I have it listed as a 3. It should be a 2. I think it's only 3 because I like vampires. It should be in the 2. I mean, so many of these are plot things. Like, I usually only say 2s if they're problematic or badly written. But I just hated this so much that my opinion on it can't be higher than a 3. Not even 3.25, like solid 3. Ew, that's it. The next book I read was pretty redeeming. It was Sing Me to Sleep by Gabi Burton. This is a YA fantasy book. We have Saiorse, who is a siren, and she lives in this kingdom that is surrounded by a barrier. And within the kingdom, there are supposed to only be 3 kinds of creatures. Fae, who rule, witches, who are kind of subservient, and then humans, who are basically slaves. Every other kind of creature has been outlawed and murdered, especially sirens. Sirens are the worst of the worst, which the only, you know what, I'll get to it in a later video. So we have no idea how Saiorse came to be. Saiorse is in hiding. She says she is a powerless fae because you can tell that she's not human, but she has no powers, or she's a low power fae, and she is enrolled in the military academy so that she can have a good placement and get a good job and give her family money to send her sister, all adopted, everyone's adopted in the family, to a really good school. Like, her whole world is on protecting her sister. Now, she has a side hustle as an assassin because as a siren, she is compelled to kill. And so in order to keep this compulsion, this need that she feels at bay, and to get extra money for her family, she takes on these jobs as an assassin. When she graduates from the military academy, she's actually scored so high that she gets offered a position as the Prince of the Land's guard. So she's a secret assassin, an illegal siren, guarding the prince, who falls so hard for her. He falls so hard. And as a siren, her siren face is stunning. It's alluring. It seduces everyone. But as her fae self, her secret unpowered fae, she has a magical disguise where she's got this massive scar on her face. And so she's fairly ugly as she lives her life. Hayes is the name of the prince. He falls anyway. He just sees the core of who she is, and watching him immediately become smitten and her try and resist is so fun. She gets pulled into a conspiracy to overthrow the kingdom because Hayes' dad is terrible, just terrible, and treats everyone terribly, even Faye he's treating terribly. And so she's now torn between the job and this relationship and this affection she's forming for the prince and these assassin duties that she's starting to realize have been leading to a certain outcome that she didn't realize. She didn't think about it. She didn't look into who she was fucking killing or why. She just did it. So, always ask why, friends. Always ask why. Even if you're an assassin, you gotta know who you're killing and why. And it bites her in the booty. It does. It comes back to bite her in the end. And this book is a duology. It's a completed duology. So it's a short series, only 2 books. It's done. You can read both of them. The second one is out. And I loved it. I thought it was just such a great story, a beautiful world. The entire cast is Black. It's written by Gabi Burton. She is a woman of color. She's a Black woman. And the way that she created this world was incredible. There's just a lot of love and appreciation and really well done. So here are my notes. My birthright is coiling men so tightly around my finger, they'll willingly follow me to an early watery grave. Beauty is a given. Oh, I have a lot of world building highlights because I need to keep track of how this world works. There are queer people, like she has an auntie, she calls her auntie, but like family friend auntie, who is partnered with a woman. There's queer all over the place. even though it is an MF story. Hayes is really pretty, apparently. But the other truth, the one I can no longer avoid, Hayes Finian Vanna Hale has wormed his way under my skin, and from there he burrowed into my heart, so deep that I can't shake him. There's nothing, there's like no yearning like YA yearning. Can we just put that out there? Like no one yearns the way they do in YA. And I think it's because as a teenager, like that feeling of wanting but also not knowing how to be with someone is so real. And it's so beautiful. I've already requested the second book from my library. I cannot wait to finish this. It was so good. I don't know where they're gonna go next in the second book. Okay, I can't stop with Kate Daniels. I can't stop. I read the next book in the series, which is Magic Bleeds. So this follows Kate and Curran. Kate is the point of view character. And in my notes, I have to put the plot of each book in like this little section because overall, like they're running a little bit together, which is not great, but as I move into the series, I realized I needed to take a different kind of note for this than I do with an interconnected standalone series, things of that nature. This is the get-together book, but it does not start off well. If you watched my previous week's book, the previous book, hold on, what's the previous book? Magic Strikes ends with Curran and Kate planning this dinner as part of their courtship where Kate is going to cook Curran food and she's supposed to do it in her underwear. And Magic Bleeds starts with Kate cooking the dinner and Curran no-showing. Oh man, it was so dramatic and I was like not ready for it. And so now there's all of these hurt feelings. So before there was tension, they'd kind of acknowledged the tension. They knew what they were, aiming for. He was courting her. She was like, am I going to let this happen? Are we inevitable? And then she gives him a chance and he doesn't show up. And so weeks go by. It's really tense between them. She's not interacting with him. He's not reaching out to her. Both of these characters are so fucking stubborn. It's really funny. Their stubbornness is a really hysterical part of their courtship. And then what happens is Kate, we learn a lot more about Kate and her background and who her dad is and who her family is because her aunt shows up and just fucks shit up. Like, there's no other way to say that. Just messes everything up. She takes over creatures, she, like, in the world, she devastates areas, she destroys so many things, and she's looking for Kate. She's looking for her not on behalf of Kate's dad / her brother, but because of him. And so we hear a little bit more about that world and how Kate's dad came to be who he is and build the power that he has and what Kate's powers are and what they still aren't. Like, her dad is old and powerful and it feels like he's probably, in my brain, he's the big bad of the whole series. But Kate still feels very human. She gets injured. She gets beaten a lot. And she and Curran have to work together to try and stop her aunt. And they have to work together and come to terms with the misunderstandings that they had, their stubbornness. How do we move forward in a relationship? Do we even want to move forward in a relationship? I mean, the answer is yes, they want to move forward in a relationship, but how do they do that after this massive misunderstanding about these massive hurt feelings? Because, hurt people gonna hurt people. And that is a real part of this book, this component. Fucking slow burn. Like, this is the slow burn of all slow burns. Not all slow burns. This is book 4, and they're just getting together, but it's so lightly spiced. Like, that's a thing. I'm so nervous that this series is just going to stay at this light spice level, which I don't hate light spice, but I don't want light spice. I want real spice. I want some spicety spice. So the fact that we're getting light spice in these books is a little nerve-wracking for me. If you've read the Kate Daniels series, do they get spicier? Notes time. 5 p.m. is when he was supposed to show up. It was 8:30 now. He said he couldn't wait. And this is me just being like, oh no, my friend. page 2, and I'm losing my shit. This is how deep the hurt goes for her. Like, when hope broke, it hurt. Mine was a very big, very desperate hope, and it hurt like a son of a bitch. Do you love that because they're in this dystopian world, there are things that don't translate? And so, great, I was looking for the proverbial guy in a cloak. He was as elusive as the legendary white truck had been when cars still filled the roadways. So inherently the phrase guy in a cloak, I have no idea what that means, but when you relate it to a white truck or a white van, you're like, oh, I get it. I know exactly. Like a man named Smith, kind of it is. They have a lot of good jokes. The banter and the jokes, the humor in this series is one of the things that really keeps me going. In a perfect world, Joshua's vertically gifted murderer would have had himself a monologue before rampaging, during which he loudly and clearly would have announced his full name, occupation, religious preference, preferably with his God's country and time period of origin, his goals, dreams, and aspirations, and the location of his lair. Yeah, I would love it if the murderer always monologued. Okay, this quote is Andrea talking about Raphael. So when I'm with him, I can feel myself getting better. It's like he's picking up broken pieces of me and putting me back together. And I don't even know how he's doing it. We never talk about it. He just loves me. And that's enough. It's so beautiful. I love it. So eventually they get over the misunderstanding and they start the courtshipping back and forth again. Almost sure this is the book because I have read Kate Daniel's book since this, so I apologize. But I'm pretty sure this is the book where she starts playing back with him. All right, I'm gonna meet him where he's at. He's been fairly patient with her, like, to be honest. He is the leader of the pack. He does not have to be. And so when she's like, all right, well then I'm gonna start courting you the way that you understand. So she breaks into the keep, into his space, and she takes this glowing sword from the Angel of Death, who we met in a different story. And because he's a shifter, he has to have specialty made workout equipment, and she welds his bar, like a barbell, to the frame with the sword. And then in his quarters, he has his bedroom and he has like a mistress room, and she welds the door shut. Because number one, she will not be living there, and number two, she never wants him to go there ever again. And it is hysterical. And so at the end, he glues her ass to her office chair. And so the final quote I have highlighted is, you don't pick the family you're born into, you pick the one you make. I already chose my mate and glued her ass to the chair to make sure she knew. It's really funny. They needle each other really well. I'm loving them. Like, the only thing is the spice. I want more of it. So I'm continuing, but I really would like for this to get spicier, if that's possible. I would love the spice to spice a little bit more. The last book I read was an audiobook. I finished the Ruinous Love trilogy with Scythe and Sparrow. These are by Bryn Weaver. Scythe and Sparrow is about Fionn, who is the youngest Cain brother, and Rose. This book felt the least slow burny to me. It starts with a hurt heel situation, then they become lovers, and they kind of become booty call lovers. They're not in a relationship, and then eventually they get together. So Fionn is in Nebraska. Rose is a circus performer. She has this side thing that she does where she gives poison to women who need to escape abusive relationships. She's actually terrible at killing people. Like, she is the worst of all the people that these books are about. She is the worst at killing people. She decides in this one stop that this woman who didn't ask for her help but is clearly being abused, she goes and attacks him. Like, she takes her motorcycle and attacks him, and he breaks her leg in like 3 places, like femur, and it's real bad, like bone out of there. These are gory books. Ends up in Fionn's clinic. He finds her, takes her to the hospital, and then she needs a place to recover. She cannot continue on with the circus. She can't climb up and down into her caravan, so she stays with Fionn. We meet her and Fionn in Butcher and Blackbird. That's where Rowan and Sloane go after she's injured. during, I think, year 3 of the games. So they go and we meet her, and they haven't hooked up yet. And my least favorite part of this book were the moments that tried to align with moments from the other 2 books, because Rose and Fiona's story takes place over the whole, like during both Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark. And part of it is because my timing, it just felt like the timing was forced, or some of the timing was wrong. And it's an audiobook, so it's hard for me to like connect sometimes. So it might just be the audiobook and it's a me thing and not a book thing. But those moments where Rose is watching the Sloane Rowan thing happen, or when Lark and Lachlan, they're dealing with that kidnapping, like those moments were the ones that were the most frustrating to me, because they felt the least smooth in the story. Specifically, okay, here's my least favorite one. The breakup. So at the end of Butcher and Blackbird, spoiler, Butcher and Blackbird, spoiler, Rowan breaks up with Sloane because he's being held hostage by a serial killer. And it felt like, and then it's hours later, Sloane figures it out. She's talking to Lark. Oh my goodness, like, wait, he gave me a clue. I'm gonna check my secret camera. I see that he's being held hostage. I'm gonna go save him. And then Fiona shows up and saves Rowan. But in Scythe and Sparrow, we got a call from Lark about, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, like, Rowan broke up with Sloane, what a terrible dude. And then it felt like 5 minutes later we got the call about Rowan being injured and needing help, and like, that's not the timing of Butcher and Blackbird. Time is much bigger, and so it just felt a little bit forced. These 2 are adorable. The banter is great. Fiona is such a wonderful character in a very different way. He's not a serial killer, and Rose is actually, like I said, terrible at killing people. Okay, so I was listening to audiobooks, and I was on a vacation with other humans, and we rented a car. Now, my personal car is very, very old, and so I don't usually listen to audiobooks in the car, or if I do, I'm not connecting to a system because I don't have a system. That's how old my car is. But we rented a car, and so there was a sound system, and I didn't realize that when you get in a car, it'll just start playing whatever it is you were listening to the last time you were in the car, but from whatever place you're at. And so I had been listening to Scythe and Sparrow, left the car, hours went by, got back in the car with the humans I was with, turned on the car, and the book came on right when a guy got murdered. And by murdered, I mean he tripped and fell and landed headfirst onto a post. But the point stands that these were not people who had consented to listening to my audiobook. And if you know of how to get that feature to turn off, please let me know, because that is something I never want to have happen again. It was at the end of this story, I felt really satisfied. I felt like the end of the Ruinous Love trilogy was a good ending. I enjoyed it. I felt like everyone got an ending they deserved. Everyone was with someone that they worked well with. And that's what you want to feel like at the end of a series. You want to feel like you're satisfied, or I want to feel satisfied. So I will say that the Ruinous Love trilogy did that. Brynn Weaver did that. She's got a new series coming out in the fall, which is really exciting. I listened to the audiobook version of this. So these are the same narrators who did Leather and Lark, which I did not love as much, but I did like them a lot more in this. Specifically the female narrator, I feel like did a much better job in this story than she did in Leather and Lark. I won't name names because I don't want to say mean things about anyone. Like, also, this is my personal opinion. This is not, are you a talented actress? This is, I didn't like your acting choices. Like, they were your choices and you went through with them. You did it. You did the thing. I just didn't like those choices. It's like, would I look good as a blonde? No. Is blonde hair bad? No, not inherently, but I personally don't think I would look good as a blonde. And that's the way that I feel. So it was a really good reading week overall. Well, no, I'm not even going to say that. It was a week. I like that diversity. I wish I'd been able to read a few more physical books, but vacation, what are you gonna do? If you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments. And until next time, this is Jace holding space for you.